Okay, we finished doing buffering, and if the buffering didn't work for you, there is a buffers layer in the download file for atrazine streams, and it was called the buffered stock GeoJSON. So if your buffering didn't work, please open that so we can continue into the next project, or if you're starting with this project, you'll need to open the buffered stock file so you can see it, but we're going to use the stream buffered one here and O1. And so the next thing we're going to do is going into our vector, and we have some data management tools, and in the data management tools we're going to join attributes by location, and the input layer is going to be the atrazine, and the trout stocked layer is going to be the buffer. We could do within a distance of here. We could unclick intersect and do within a distance of, but that starts to be, it's down below, and that gives us some issues. So we're just going to use the buffering because that's going to give it within the distance that we want, and everything else here should be fine. And then it's going to open the output after running it. If accidentally that gets unclicked, yours might not pop up. And then we're going to click run. And this also grinds away for a little while. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. We'll pause it for... Okay, so it finally finishes. Sorry I had to sit there for five or 6 minutes. Some of you 7 or 8. Again, if it crashes or that, we have a joined layer in the download zipped file. So I'm going to click close, and we have a joined layer here. We're going to right click on our joined layer, and we're going to open the attribute table, and hopefully we have the creek name and all right. So way out here we have water lat long, and we have shape length and water name up here, WTR name. We're going to be using that, and over way back over here we should have the amount, the unit measures. So it looks like we have right here the result measure value. We have everything we need, and so the join worked, and we are going to save this join as a CSV file because we don't really need it as a point file at this point. This is just an intermediate step, so we're going to go to export. We're going to save the features as, and instead of GeoJSON, we're going to change to comma separated value file. We're going to navigate back to our atrazine streams and call it atrazine streams 2, because I'm going to overwrite that because we just don't want to overwrite it. And we're going to say OK, and that will spin away for a minute and adds that here. Now we have to remove it. Notice that it adds it here. We have to remove it or we can't play with it in Excel. So we're going to go there and we're going to remove the layer and OK, so we don't have our layer there. Next step we're going to do is we're going to open Excel. We're going to go to File and Open, and have to browse to Downloads and atrazine streams. Yours is going to be where you put it. Now down here I have to change from the XLS series to the text series, and you'll see the atrazine streams 2. I open it up, and voila, I have the data that we put in there, our latitudes, longitudes, etc. And so we will use this latitude and longitude when we do our pivot table because we'd like our averages to be at to be able to join to the stream. So what we're going to do now is click someplace and a Control A or a Command A to select everything. And then we're going to insert a pivot table and OK. All right, so we want it to be by water name. And so here I'm just going to, in the search, do WTR. And I see name, so I'm going to drag water name down there, and it's going to give us all of our water names. And then the next one I want is result, measure value, and we see that, and I'm going to drag that into the values. And then I want latitude, and longitude. And in these two sums, I want the sum, I want the total of the tests that were in there to give an exposure, sort of if there's lots of things and lots of dots, I could do average, we could put it in and do average and total, but we're just going to do total for now. And we're going to right click here, and we're going to do value field settings, and we're going to make that average. And the value field settings here, we're going to make average. Okay, and this will put these sort of midstream, or at the point closest to the stream as a points file. All right, now we're going to right click on the sum, and we're going to sort largest to smallest, and there we have it. Blank we don't want to look at because those are things that weren't in stream, so we're going to slide to the bottom and get blanks, get rid of that. And so Sinking Creek is in fact sinking, and it's sinking in atrazine. All right, so now we have this nice file here that we wanted. Our work is almost done. We're going to do File and Save As. This PC, atrazine streams. I'm going to change it to an XLS workbook in the first thing. So we've saved all of our work and we have our pivot table. The next thing I'm going to do is select this data here that we're going to take back in as a CSV file. We're going to select everything but grand total, and we're going to copy that. We're going to create a new workbook, and we're going to paste values. We're going to rename this WTR name so it matches with our other water name. We're going to call this, we're just going to get rid of the average of and the average of, so it's just latitude and longitude, and we're going to call this result measure value sum, so when we look for it, it'll be easier under result measure. And then we're going to do File, and we're going to Save As into atrazine streams, and we're going to save this one as a CSV, and we're going to call it total atrazine in streams.